Hello and welcome to Healthy Tales with Sahiba, brought to you by Zoconut, a leading business management software for health and nutrition businesses. Healthy Tales with Sahiba is a first of its kind TV talk show featuring leaders from the health, nutrition and fitness industry. Today I have two very special guests on my show. Come, let's welcome them. It's an absolute privilege to introduce my guests today, a lawyer and an engineer who both work together now to grow, deliver fresh, natural, organic produce. Please welcome Mr. Yajush Khosla and Mr. Mohit Kumar, co-founders of Kyssa Farms. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yajush, I want to start with you. You are a lawyer. How did you get into this space of organic farming?
It started actually almost 6 years back. I was looking at my next out from law, and I was certain of that. We're a resident. We have a real estate holding, and it started from land. And I was just kind of looking at how I could not invest, but kind of build something. And my father used to be a passionate farmer, and he used to do this as a hobby. And he used to just provide it to all his friends and family. And it started from actually that and me trying to take that out and making it a larger, more commercially viable sort of system. And that's where I started with just farming. Initially, I was exploring other avenues and then slowly came around to organic being the most viable and also something for the future. So that was actually my way of getting into the industry. Then I worked along the way, learned, and work for a front-end company as well to just understand consumer demand, understand what the market is towards. And then I met Mohit, and then that's how we managed to bring Kyssa to where it is today.
And Mohit ji, आपने engineering करी है, B.Tech किया हुआ है, but आपकी family background जो है वो farming का ही है. तो आप organic farming में कैसे आए?
माता पिता के कहने पे मैंने अपना बीटेक में एडमिशन लिया। 2012 में मेरे साथ कुछ 2-3 इंसिडेंट ऐसे हुए, उसी वक्त मैंने अपनी बीटेक पास की थी। घर वाले डेली फ़ोन करते पूछते कि बेटा अच्छा खाना, अच्छी सब्जी खाना, मार्केट से बाहर का फास्ट फूड अवॉइड करना। और उस वर्ष हमारी जो फसल थी खराब हो गई, तो घर पे जब हम बात करते थे ये चीज़ें पता चलती थी इन कारणों से हुई। तो उसी में क्या चीज़ें थी कि कुछ जो हमारा वो खाली स्पेस था जिसमें जैविक फार्मिंग करते थे वो खराब नहीं हुआ, जबकि जो हम कमर्शियल सब्जियां उगा रहे थे तो वो खराब हो गया। तो उस वक्त जो मेरा इंटरेस्ट था वो और ज़्यादा हो गया कि भाई अब तो आपको ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग ही करनी है।
तो जो पहले आप सिर्फ अपने परिवार के लिए ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग करते थे उसको आपने कन्वर्ट कर दिया एंड आपने कमर्शियल फार्मिंग पूरा रिप्लेस कर दिया. So Yajush, when you and Mohit got together and started Kyssa Farms, what is it that you both wanted to do differently?
So Kyssa actually came about to be because, he's from the farming background, and I'm from the business background, and legal, and my family's in the business. But the idea was actually to kind of change the engagement between the usual buyers and the sellers. The buyers being us and the sellers being the farmers, and move it away from that. Try to kind of uplift the farmers and build more towards an ecosystem which is more circular, which has everyone involved in it as key stakeholders, and to basically offer something to the customers as well as like businesses that doesn't necessarily have to go from step by step. And in the sense, what I mean by that is when you buy a sabzi or when you buy vegetables, anything from the farmers, at every step, every hand that it goes through, there's a price increase, but there's no value increase. And so it's not the chain, unfortunately, only increases in price, no value addition. And the product remains the same. So what I also saw was that the farmers were not getting their due, and neither were the companies, and neither was the last mile customers as well, because the hands in the middle were far too many. So the idea was to build an ecosystem which has them an equivalent and similar, like to share an ecosystem where they are as important as we are, and so that they also get the due benefits that the customers or the end consumer should be able to get. And the only way to do that was to kind of get into the growing aspect rather than just keeping the community at a buy and sells, which is what it is today.
So is that more of a trend, buy and sell, or are these kind of collaborations growing now?
The collaborations are slowly, I would like to believe that they are, but I do know that majority of them as of now are buy and sell because it's the easiest and the only possible way to go about it. The people that buy don't want to take on the headaches of the people that sell, and the people that sell unfortunately cannot do the buying for themselves or cannot find those markets for themselves. So there was a gap that we saw, and that's also one of the reasons why me and him decided to come together and kind of bridge that gap so that we could bring the benefit of doing so not just to the customer in front, which would make it easier for us to sell, but at the same time also benefit the farmer at the back end, and uplift them in terms of practices, policies, and final price, which they are deserving of.
Right, that's a wonderful thought and very important, I would say. मोहित जी, आप बताइए कि ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग और कमर्शियल फार्मिंग में कितना फर्क है और क्या-क्या फर्क है?
आपका कमर्शियल फार्मिंग में आप मार्केट में अवेलेबल रासायनिक खादों का प्रयोग करते हैं, जिसके फलस्वरूप आप जो आपका कमर्शियल फार्मिंग है उसके जो प्रोडक्शन होती है उसमें न्यूट्रिशन वैल्यू बहुत कम हो जाती है, जबकि आपकी ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग में जो आपका प्रोडक्शन होता है उसमें न्यूट्रिशन वैल्यू बहुत अच्छी होती है। सेकेंडली जो मैं बताना चाहूँगा आपको कि ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग में आपको जो हमें वाटर की ज़रूरत पड़ती है वो बहुत लिमिटेड वाटर की ज़रूरत पड़ती है। थर्ड पॉइंट, आपको कमर्शियल फार्मिंग में आपको हम अपना पर्यावरण को काफ़ी नुकसान पहुंचाते हैं, जबकि आपकी ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग आपकी इको फ्रेंडली एक फार्मिंग होती है।
लेकिन ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग के लिए आपको कुछ सर्टिफिकेशंस चाहिए होते हैं।
ये एक प्रोसीजर होता है जो कि 4 वर्ष के लिए होता है। थर्ड ईयर तक आपको एक सर्टिफिकेशन बॉडी होती है, उसके पास जाना पड़ता है और वो आपको सर्टिफाइड करती है। एवरी ईयर आपकी ऑडिट्स होती हैं, चेकिंग्स होती हैं, आपके फार्मर्स की फार्मर डायरी चेक होती है कि उसने क्या क्रॉप लगाई है, क्या उसने दवाई उसमें यूज़ की है, उसमें उन्होंने डाली क्या क्या चीज़ें हैं, लाइक फार्म मैन्योर है, बाहर से जो परचेज किया गया है, सपोज बाहर से कुछ परचेज किया गया है तो उसका रिकॉर्ड मेंटेन किया जाता है, क्या वो आप कमर्शियल वाली चीज़ें तो यूज़ नहीं कर रही हैं।
तो स्ट्रिक्ट गाइडलाइंस होती हैं, चेकलिस्ट सो टू से फॉर दिस। So Yajush, organic produce usually has a higher price point. How do you convince your consumers to purchase organic food?
So organic as an ecosystem, right? If you look at it, everything that commercially farming offers you is straight halved in terms of output. So automatically the price appreciation starts right there. Apart from that, in commercial there's just this regular spray and it does the job. In organic, you have to find solutions constantly. So the process of finding solutions usually is tedious, cumbersome, and is expensive. Apart from that, because of the regulations that organic comes with, there are certain compliances that you have to follow even in the supply chain in terms of how you're, getting it to you, how is it reaching, how is it being stored over there, or how is it being harvested. And considering all of these things, it takes more time and it takes more effort, and subsequently obviously increases the price. So the compliances also that apply make it a lot more tedious in terms of the final output, because if you look at it like where it's being stored, how it's being transported, what is it being transported in, all of these facets also are very important for us to keep a check on. And in principle, to bring that traceability from the farm to the ground, like to the customer directly, and managing the whole supply chain end to end, because in our case we do it ourselves, that does put out an appreciative cost. And then obviously the most important aspect that is there that we do kind of emphasize on is the fact that the nutritional advantage that the produce in itself offers, it cannot be, cannot be compared to any of the others that do. And and it also needs time. Like, I mean, it's not something that you start eating and you're good to go in like no time. So it takes its own due course, but your body will start responding towards it. So what we do ask them for is just some time, to be able to kind of get accustomed to it and to see what are the changes that actually happen on a day-to-day basis, because the body talks faster than anything else. So that is what we try to, and that's how we try to. But it is difficult nonetheless.
Yajush, also, I've noticed that people usually don't understand the difference between organic and natural. There are a lot of products which say natural on the label, and people pick it up thinking that it's actually organic. Can you educate us on that? What is the difference?
So in principle, organic is a framework, right? And what it does is that there are certain guidelines that you follow for you to be organic. The primary difference that I feel that is there in natural and organic is natural follows the principles of organic. Natural farming is organic in principle. It follows the practices of organic, but the difference is the certification, the stringent timeline that it takes, the 3 years that is there, the inputs, the management. So there is a difference for sure. Natural is mostly in the cases where there are more small-time farmers, and organic is more on a larger scale, and it is more of a community sort of farming, which is where the certification comes in, and someone does it either from the government or from private stakeholders. But natural is just a small-time farmer. Again, in general, like just to be able to see and figure out whether it's natural, the cost also is more for us, for example, to be able to actually decipher the difference between the two, because you have to get those tested.
So, Yajush, is it very difficult for an individual farmer to turn his farmland into an organic farm?
Certainly, it's a far more tedious process apart from the cost that comes with it. It's not possible for a single standalone farmer, to be honestly, able to do it. It takes a lot.
Taking from there, Mohit ji, I know we've come a long way as a country, but अभी भी जो farmers हैं उनकी life इतनी आसान नहीं है और काफ़ी दिक्कतें आती हैं अभी भी farming process में farmers को. तो आप कुछ बताएंगे कि क्या-क्या दिक्कतें आती हैं?
जब आप कमर्शियल की बात करती हैं फार्मिंग की, तो आपको कम से कम 50 कंपनी अच्छी कंपनी मिल जाएगी जो अच्छी क्वालिटी के सीड अवेलेबल करा देती है। पर ऑर्गेनिक में कुछ गिनी चुनी 1-2 ही कंपनी है और उनकी सीड की कॉस्ट इतनी ज़्यादा है कि फार्मर उसे अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाता। सेकंड आता है कि किसान अपने फार्म पे ही फार्म मैन्योर बनाता है, पर आजकल बीमारियां ऐसी फसलों में आती है कि वो उनसे कंट्रोल नहीं होती। फिर किसान को बायो पेस्टिसाइड की तरफ मूव करना पड़ता है, जो कि मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, पर उनके भी प्राइस किसान की पहुंच से बहुत ज़्यादा ऊपर है। तो ये एक सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है। तीसरा सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है कि इन 2 चैलेंज को क्रॉस करने के बाद जब किसान अपनी फसल को काटता है, तो आप जब कमर्शियल की बात करते हैं उसके लिए प्रॉपर मंडी है, काफ़ी आउटलेट है, जबकि ऑर्गेनिक मार्केट के लिए ऐसा ना कोई आउटलेट है ना कोई मंडी है। तो किसान के लिए सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज यही है कि उसने फसल को प्रोड्यूस तो कर दिया और उसे बेचने कहाँ जाएं। एंड टू एंड कोई अभी सॉल्यूशन नहीं है कि हम वहाँ पे जाएं।
I'd also like to add a quick point to this. It's my personal belief, but the green revolution, as good as it was for us at that particular point in time, the transition from quantity to quality had to be a state-led endeavor. And unfortunately, it wasn't, because they concentrated a lot more on quantity. And the whole system that has been built according to those practices. So quantity is respected, but quality is not. And organic works on the fact that even if it's not quality, there's a nutritional advantage, which is not there, and there's no place where you get an advantage for doing it in a certain way, which has to be a state-led endeavor.
मोहित जी, एक और सवाल पूछना चाहूँगी कि आप जैसे अब ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग कर रहे हैं, आपके पास आपकी फसल उग गई है, आपने जैसे बोला कि कोई सेट मार्केट, बड़ी मार्केट, सब्जी मंडी जैसी नहीं है फॉर ऑर्गेनिक प्रोड्यूस। अभी जैसे कायसा फार्म्स हैं, ऐसी बहुत कम्युनिटीज़ बढ़ रही हैं, बट ये ट्रेंड सिर्फ मेट्रो सिटीज़ में है कि टियर 2 सिटीज़ में भी अब ये ट्रेंड हो रहा है ऑर्गेनिक प्रोड्यूस खरीदने का?
अभी टोटली तो ये मेट्रो सिटीज़ में ही है। उनके लोग थोड़ी डिमांड कर रहे हैं, वो डिमांड इतनी कम है कि वहाँ तक अभी फार्मर्स का पहुँच पाना काफ़ी मुश्किल है, क्योंकि उसकी कॉस्ट इतनी बढ़ जाएगी कि फिर वो लेने वाले को काफ़ी उसमें प्रॉब्लम्स आएंगी। तो अभी ये केवल मेट्रो सिटी में ही पॉसिबल है।
On that note, let's move from the farm to the table. This is a fun segment called Sip Happens. We have these health shots, energy shots, sponsored by Ojo Lifestyle, and we're going to play a rapid fire round. You have to fight for this beautiful hamper by Krishi Cress. These are products made using naturally grown organic produce from your community. तो मैं आप दोनों से एक मुहावरा पूछूंगी, मैं आधा मुहावरा बताऊंगी, उसको आपको कंप्लीट करना है। जो पहले कर देगा वो सेफ है, जो नहीं करेगा उसको ये शॉट पीना है, ठीक है? So are you ready? Okay, let's start. रोटी कपड़ा और
मकान।
इन्होंने पहले बोला तो आपको शॉट लेना पड़ेगा। अगला सवाल, जय जवान जय दिस टाइम इट्स यू। बुरी नजर वाले
तेरा मुंह काला।
इन सिंक, ओके, सो बोथ आर सेफ। अकल बढ़िया
भैंस।
बंदर क्या जाने
अदरक का स्वाद।
आसमान से गिरे
खजूर पलट के।
खजूर पलट के, ठीक है, खजूर पलट के। आई गिव दैट टू हिम।
वेल डन।
दूध का दूध
पानी का पानी।
किस खेत की
मूली।
इन सिंक। इन द लास्ट वन, घर की मुर्गी
दाल बराबर। कम ऑन सर।
लास्ट है।
अब तो हेल्दी होके जा रहे हैं यहाँ से। So both of you did wonderfully, but since he's come from the farmlands here, I'm going to give the hamper to him. Congratulations मोहित जी, आप ये बहुत ही अच्छा सा hamper आपने जीता है। Don't be disheartened, Yajush. We're not going to let you go empty-handed. Since we've been talking about organic farming, and both of you are growers, producers of organic produce, we have these special gift hampers from Native Organica, who are our gift partners, and we are going to leave you with these little.
Thank you.
We have these little mementos from our title sponsor, Zoconet. I'm going to read this out for you. We applaud your spirit of entrepreneurship and wish you all the best for future endeavors. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Yajush, and all the very best to you. Never been done before. Today we actually had farmers come on our show and educate us and inform us about difference between organic farming, commercial farming, organic produce, natural produce, and the importance of buying and consuming organic produce. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला है, and all the very best to the both of you and Kyssa Farms.
Thank you.
बुरी नजर वाले
तेरा मुंह काला।
इन सिंक, ओके, सो बोथ आर सेफ। अकल बढ़िया
भैंस।
वसंत वैली ने अच्छा हिंदी पढ़ा है। दाल में कुछ अच्छा पीने, ठीक है, ओके, वी गो टू द अदर वन। बंदर क्या जाने इन सिंक। अपनी खिचड़ी किसी को नहीं आता अलग पकाना, तो इसमें ही क्या करें, दोनों पिए कि नहीं? अच्छा, ओके। आसमान से गिरे खजूर पलट के, ठीक है, खजूर पलट के। आई गिव दैट टू हिम। रेडी? दूध का दूध,
पानी का पानी।
जूस पे जूस, शॉर्ट पे शॉर्ट,